Hello everyone, Curious Corduroy here, and Sony held their State of Play today, or I don't know when this video is going to go up, so it might be yesterday technically, but I checked it out, I watched it. I also watched the 800-hour live stream that Maximilian Dude did, so I'm kind of tired right now. My words are going to be really jumbled. I'm trying to remember everything I saw. There was a ton of Street Fighter 6 information that I ingested through Max's stream, but we'll go ahead and start with the beginning, and that is Resident Evil 4 Remake. It is real, it is happening, it is coming out next year, March 24th, 2023. They're bringing back Nick Apostles, who played Leon in Resident Evil 2 Remake, so it's nice to have him back. I thought he did a really great job in RE2 Remake, so he's coming back as Leon. It looks like it's going to be a much darker version of RE4. The press release on the PlayStation blog states that they're going to reimagine the story, but still kind of keep the essence of what the RE4 story actually was. So it's going to be in the vein of all of the Resident Evil remakes, where it's slightly reimagined, but there's things that we recognize and things that will still be the same. But like I said, tonally, it's definitely different. Leon still looks like Leon. He's got that classic leather jacket. Ashley seems to have gotten a redesign as well. Luis is going to be there, but it's going to be much darker. Leon is not that jovial guy he was in the original RE4. In RE4, Leon was very much an action hero who kind of spouted off snarky one-liners every now and then, and he was like this badass who could really, who really wasn't shaken. But in the trailer for this game, Leon seems shooketh. Something is going on. He's talking about trying to change something that happened on a certain night. So I don't know if they're alluding to Leon being responsible for Ashley being kidnapped, or if he's dealing with PTSD surrounding the incident in Raccoon City that happened 6 years prior. I do not know. There's not a lot of information out right now, unfortunately, but it is real, it is happening, and I'm pretty damn excited. They also announced that it's going to have some PlayStation VR 2 features in there, so there's going to be there's going to be a PlayStation VR 2 version of this game coming eventually, as well as Resident Evil Village. It's finally getting the PSVR treatment. You're going to be able to dual wield weapons, so you can hold a shotgun and a knife, or a handgun and a shotgun. It's going to be crazy. It's unfortunate that Village didn't have this mode to begin with, but the fact that they're doing it is awesome. Up next, we had an update for Horizon Forbidden West. They talked about Call of the Mountain before this, but there's not too much information about that right now. But Forbidden West did get some updates, New Game Plus, harder difficulty, but the biggest one that stood out to me is that they somehow found a way to increase the visual fidelity of the game in the performance mode, which is what I normally play on. So it's going to be really interesting to see how much better the game looks. And it's kind of funny because when I booted up my PS5 to watch the State of Play, my Horizon had updated, and I didn't get a chance to see what the update was, but it's today's update, so it's going to be interesting to see how that game looks. Up next, to everyone's shock, they announced that Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered will be coming to PC this year on August 12th. So finally, PC users are going to be able to experience how awesome Spider-Man is. It's the remastered version. It's going to look crazy. You know there's going to be a ton of mods as well. So it's really cool to see Sony putting forth the effort to port their games to PC and have them be the best that they can be so they can reach a new audience. Next up was Stray, which is the kitty cat game. Nothing really too crazy or stand out. It looks like it might be a fun short adventure, but the coolest thing is that they announced that this game will be free for PlayStation Plus users on the extra and premium tier, so that's really cool. We had the Callisto Protocol, which I believe is being made from the OG Dead Space developers, and it looks like a full-on spiritual successor to Dead Space. Very creepy. The guy doing the voiceover in the trailer sounded like Jeffrey Dean Morgan, but I don't know if it was him or not, but it looks very much like OG Dead Space, and for the people that missed that game, they're probably going to really like Callisto Protocol. Next was Roller Dome, which is like this really weird rollerblading game where you take out zombies. It's like aggressive inlining, but you can shoot zombies and do tricks, and there wasn't too much information out in regards to that game, but that one also looks kind of interesting as well. But I don't know. There's a lot to do with zombies and monsters in this State of Play. Up next, we had Street Fighter 6. Again, there was so much information on Street Fighter 6. We finally got like a full-on reveal of some of the characters. Ryu's there, Chun-Li, Luke, character named Jamie, some other characters. If you were watching Maximilian Dude's stream, got leaked, like Cammy and Guile. I believe Jury's gonna be there, E Honda, Dalsim. So many people got leaked, perhaps by accident. I don't know, but I really like what I saw from Street Fighter 6. It looks great. It's got a new visual identity where they're leaning more into like the urban hip hop kind of themes of like Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. The mechanics have been overhauled. There's really so much to talk about. I think that the PlayStation blog actually does a really good job of streamlining a lot of this information, as well as, the straight up, official Street Fighter 6 website has tons of information on things like the drive gauge, which is going to really determine how you fight. There's the drive gauge, there's overdrive abilities, there's drive cancels, there's so many different types of movements and mechanics in this game. The one thing that's going to be very controversial, though, are the actual controls. They offer the classic controls, which is playing Street Fighter like you would always play Street Fighter, like motion inputs and whatnot for Hadoukens and specials. But there's also the modern mode, which simplifies the controls. You have one light attack, one heavy attack, and you have one button presses, it looks like, for your specials. So instead of down forwarding for your Hadouken, you could just press triangle and shoot out a Hadouken with Ryu. So that's going to be something that's really controversial to a lot of people, but I think if they can find a way to balance out the modern and classic schemes, and it seems like they are, there's like a lot of risk reward, it seems like, involved with this drive gauge and being able to parry and use special abilities. So I think they've worked it out to where it will be balanced, but I know that's going to be a controversial part of this game, and there's going to be people that do not like these simplified controls. But if Capcom can find a way to balance that, then it shouldn't really matter. If you want to use the classic controls, go for it. If you want to try out modern and that brings new people to the scene, that's great. Fighting games already struggle when it comes to player count. The more people on board, the better, in my opinion. But maybe I can do a podcast with Impulse later on talking about this, because there was so much information in regards to Street Fighter 6. But either way, it looks really cool. I like the character designs. I love how colorful it is. There's going to be an open world. They're just calling it World Tour mode, where you have like what seems to be a create a character, which maybe you go around the streets learning new abilities. You can walk up to people and challenge them to fights. There's the online area, which I believe is called like the Battle Hub, where it's basically like a big virtual lobby where you can go and watch people fight. You can potentially play classic Capcom fighting games. You can, trick out your character with new clothing. There's a lot. It seems to be that they're really going full force with Street Fighter 6, and they're all in, and I'm pretty much really excited for it. This is going to get me back into Street Fighter based on what I've seen already. And lastly, we have Final Fantasy 16. We finally got a brand new trailer. The last one we got was in 2019, and the game looks so much different now compared to what we saw back then. It looks so much better. The graphics are better, the lighting, the overall frame rate, the combat. We saw so much more of the combat. So it is confirmed that Clive is the only character we're going to be playing, so we will not have a full party of characters like we would traditionally in a Final Fantasy game, unfortunately. However, there's a heavy focus in this game on summons, and it looks like there are moments where we might actually control a summon, because there's parts in this trailer where summons are battling one another and Clive is nowhere to be found on screen in terms of the UI. It's literally like Ifrit versus Garuda or whatnot. And I'm under the impression that maybe we might control summons for some of these battles. But as far as the battle system goes, it looks very much like action character driven, like Devil May Cry. The Devil May Cry combat designer is the one who's working on this game, and instead of having multiple party members, it looks like the summons are going to kind of take the place of that. So in the trailer you see Clive fighting and he's switching between summons, and it looks like the summons dictate his move set and what abilities he's going to be able to get. So it looks like you can juggle those on the fly, so you can go from Shiva to Ifrit to Ramu to Bahamut, and your move set will change. The weapons you're using will probably change. It's really cool and interesting, and I was on the fence at first with 16, but this trailer has it's put me at ease. It's reassured me, and I'm actually genuinely really excited for it now. And I'm really excited to see what this game's story is going to be, because there's such a heavy emphasis on those summons. They're vital to this story. They seem to be vital to the combat as well. So I'm really excited to see more about this game. The only downside is the release date. Unfortunately, the game will not be releasing this year like a lot of us, including me, suspected. Unfortunately, it's going to be coming out summer of 2023. And this was from the PlayStation blog directly. They said that they wanted to work on polishing this game as best as they can and to fully utilize the PlayStation 5 hardware. So although I'm disappointed and I'm bummed out because it was a fantastic trailer, the best thing a developer can do is just let their game cook. Polish it up as much as you can. Make sure you iron out all the bugs. Make sure it's as great as it can possibly be before you release it. So unfortunately, it's not coming out this year. That does kind of make me a little bit nervous that maybe FF7 Remake Part 2 is now going to be affected because of that, but who knows? I'm trying to remember if there's anything I missed in regards to this trailer. There's so much that happens, but I think I covered almost everything. Maybe other people or myself will do a much more in-depth video somewhere down the line, maybe when some more information comes out. However, I am Curious Corduroy. That was the state of play. As always, leave your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think about what you saw in the state of play? I thought it was a genuinely really good state of play with a lot of heavy hitters. Resident Evil 4 was there. It's getting the PSVR 2 treatment. Spider-Man coming to PC. Street Fighter 6 looking great. Final Fantasy 16. We are clearly in an era where we're going to start getting some really great heavy hitters, and I would love to hear what you guys have to think about all of this stuff in the comments down below. I will see you guys in the next video, and please remember to always be excellent to one another.